getting closer, waiting for the opportune moment. Yes, I've watched you for a long time, and I'm watching you now. You can dog a man until he's finished, or a victory until it's yours. Quite a talent. No CIA better fitted for the job. Yes, he's here, the man you hunt. His brow is shivering with sweat. His hands are moist with blood. So stop creeping around and tell me exactly what you want.
Athena. Oh, Athena. It's you, isn't it? I can't see you, but your voice comes to me like a musical instrument from another dimension.
I'm in your dimension now, Odysseus.
I've always loved you. You know you've always been foremost in my mind.
It's Ajax you want, isn't it?
Yes, it's Ajax, the man with the great shield, the man I hate. He's the one I'm tracking, but goddammit, who's to know for sure? Someone went crazy last night, some maniac. He butchered some cattle with his sword. He may have killed a farmer and his son who tried to stop him. Then he continued on his rampage. We're on maneuvers now. There've been rumors all over camp. Someone saw someone running across the field, burning with dark moonlight, a bloody sword in his hand. They said it was a general. They said it was Ajax. Still, it's hard to know what to know. We're on edge. Every weapon seems to be pointed in our direction. But Ajax leaves the debris of a madman's room behind him. It's hard for me to believe.
It was him. It was Ajax.
Why?
He wanted Achilles' armor.
I know he did. I know how much he wanted it, but the armor was me to honor my service, not his, and there's nothing that can be done about that.
He couldn't live with that fact, Odysseus. It was too much for him.
Why attack those animals?
He didn't know they were animals.
What do you mean?
He thought he was painting the night with the blood of his enemies. You, for instance.
No, Athena, don't say that. I can't believe it. I won't.
It's true. And he would have succeeded if I had let him. He was close to your tent, all of your tents. Menelaus, Agamemnon. You're out on maneuvers. What is it for one general to visit his brother generals? Nothing strange there, nothing abnormal normally. Just a late night brainstorm, a brilliant idea to share, your throat ripped open like an urgent telegram. But then I stepped in. I threw a net of fantasy in front of him and he walked into it deep with his boots and his mind. And I said, look, Ajax, look at those cattle in the fields. Look and you'll be able to see. Look carefully and you'll be able to penetrate the latest technology, the latest camouflage. Can you see now? Yes, he said. Yes, thanks for the tip, Athena. They can't fool me, those cows, those sheep, those black Angus bulls, even that dog. They're all my enemies. Oh, of course they think they're clever with their horns and their tails and their animal grunts and murmurs, but not quite clever enough. Exactly, I said, Ajax. Exactly. You're on target now. You've penetrated the deceit and you're starting to zoom in on the rancor they bear you, on the horror of their aims. Then he waded into them, demented, foaming at the face, hacking his enemies, leaders and followers alike to pieces. Good, I said, General, good. Don't let a single one escape. Offer no mercy. Let them feel the muscle of a true American hero. And he did. He hit razor perfect, razor sharp, over and over, home run after deadly home run, again and again. Then he stopped, exhausted after the massacre, and slowly, methodically began torturing the ones that remained alive. Ajax!
No, Athena.
What? Is the great general afraid?
Athena, please.
Don't do yourself a coward.
He's mad.
He's still the man you knew.
You know how much we hated each other and still do. I can deal with that, but the madness, I don't want to look at it, not up close.
It threatens you, doesn't it?
It threatens everything.
But this time you'll be on top. You'll be able to laugh at
No,
him.
I don't want to laugh.
Don't worry, I'll control
I
him.
wouldn't fear
His
him.
eyes will be blind when it comes to
There's
you.
nothing the gods can't or won't do.
Be quiet. Don't move. Don't speak. General, is this the way way you treat your date stander up like this, you should be ashamed.
Athena, how lovely you look tonight. My dear friend, have you come to celebrate with me?
Yes, I have, General.
And this is only the beginning. The greatest gifts are yet to come.
Is your sword well greased with the blood of your enemies?
It's still smoking hot.
And what about the two sons of Atreus, Agamemnon, and Menelaus?
Stone cold, stone dead, unrecognizable among the recognizable dead. I hacked them to pieces. They'll never have another chance to laugh me behind my back and take what's rightfully mine. When I get them back to the base, I'll feed them to my pet wolfhound.
You served yourself well, General, but what about Odysseus, your oldest and most dangerous enemy?
Odysseus! Oh, I have him inside, safe and sound, in the seat of honor among the dead and the dying. I don't want him dead yet. You see, I'm just getting warmed up. I want to take him back to the base, tie him up, and then whip him, until my arm grows tired. Then take a break and go back to him again and again. I have a feeling I'll go better at it as the day goes on.
Must you be so cruel to him?
You can command me in anything, Athena, but not this, not his punishment.
Then do as you please, General.
Yes, because you see, it's only the body I'm tormenting. It was my mind they worked on. I can't show you what they did to my mind. I can't take it out and lay it at your feet. If I did, Athena, you would be sicker.
I'm sure.
Athena, his mind is a bloody hand, his thoughts raving.
Now you see the power of the gods. One day he was the greatest of generals in the heat of it all, the coolest head, the calmest judgment.
He was the cutting edge, the force and heart of the American army. He was the wild horse of generals. Nothing could contain him, no one could get to him. He followed his own path, his men would have followed him to hell.
Still, it's not enough.
He was my enemy, but I see him now and it makes me sick. It could be myself there behind those mad eyes, those delusions. Why did it happen?
He reached the wall and I pushed him through deep into the other side, the wilderness.
It's not fair!
Who do you think you are? Filled to the red, bursting with pride, willfulness, and your super-abundant egos. You think you can glide your war toys anywhere you please? That you can make the earth quake at will? That the secrets of nature are yours for the asking? And that human life is a simple statistic, a mere cost outlay, relegated to an accountant's attention? What is left of humility? Discretion. Moderation.
The world is ruthless, Athena.
Not as ruthless as you are. In one day, the balance of human life is thrown, the scales are tipped, and your story is over.
But Athena, our achievements, our dreams, are they just that? Dreams? Shadows without weight or consequence?
You're beginning to catch on.
That's frightening.
One day is all you have, one day at a time to rise or fall, so be careful.
Athena!
Your kittens playing on a ledge above the sea, one gust of wind is all it takes.
General Ayak, we salute you. If things are okay with you, then everything's fine with us. If there's any problem with you, then it'll also be bad for us. But no matter what, General, we're on your side, sir.
A while back, my heart was pounding. They're telling strange stories, sir. That a beast roams the fields. A beast filled with power and rage. And some think he's dressed like a general.
It's Odysseus' men, you know, and Odysseus himself probably started it. Out of hatred of you, sir, it grows and grows.
And now it grows and grows. A general roams the fields, slaughtering cattle. Look! Those may be his medals shining. Those may be his eyes. It grows and it grows. And they're all laughing.
Tell them about us and nobody pay attention.
But talk about the great. A general like you, and there's a big audience.
The general and us have always worked well together.
Not like the other officers, always looking down on their men.
Yeah, we would have been nowhere without Ajax.
But without you, sir, we can't answer those morons.
So come out, sir, and show your face. One look is all it will take for those cowards to quake.
Just one look. Still, it was scary, you know, seeing those cattle back there, torn up like that.
Only some madman would have done it.
Unless something drove him crazy. Something put him over the edge. Some power we can't understand.
Who's the Chinese god? Confucius? Confucius, I guess. Then maybe we should say a prayer to him because my mind is getting shell-shocked beyond belief.
Yes, I think I could use some religious supervision.
Then maybe we should pray. Maybe we should. Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your boots.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your boots.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your mind.
Sometimes it's no good to be alone in your
Sometimes the night hurts and the wind burns.
Sometimes the night
and you can't see the road, and the words of men are stones.
and you can't see the road and the words.
So maybe we should pray for some religious supervision from whoever is in charge of the night, Confucius or Mars or Captain Midnight. Whoever is calling the shots up there.
Whoever's calling the shots up there.
Whoever can put away this goddamn fear.
No, wait, no more prayers. Let's get the general out here.
General, sir, if you're in there, don't stay anymore. You can't see their hate, their malice. But we have. It's lighting up the sky, sir. It would burn your eye, explode a cartridge. So come on out, sir. As a favor to everyone.
It's the general's wife.
Please.
Ma'am.
The general's in trouble, men. He's hurt bad. It's his mind.
Oh, ma'am, we were afraid.
Something got to him. Something drove him insane. He's in there now in the barn. I was just with him. He sits there raving among his tortured and murdered victims.
Jesus, God, save our
You shut up, his wife is here.
The man is right. Our noble master, the man we loved and served, is mad.
Maybe they did something to him, man.
Maybe it's a CIA plot.
No, it's no plot. It's true. I saw it all. I saw him take his prisoners, then I saw what he did to them. First, he got hold of two white-faced rams, sweet animals, and he cut the head off of one and pulled out its tongue. And he said, "Never again will you speak evil about me." Then he grabbed the other one and tied it to a post, and picking up a length of steel cable, he began to whip it and whip it. The creature was screaming like a child, but he kept at it, and he cursed it with a rage that I have never heard on this earth before.
We'd run.
But there's no escaping
No,
it.
don't go. I want you to talk
But
to him.
how can we, ma'am, if he's slaughtering animals?
Because I think it's past. The insane rage, the ghastly lightning that penetrated his skull, it's gone. The horror has cooled and turned to vapor.
Thank God.
Now he has no other choice but to see with his own
But
eyes what he
still,
did with
it will
his
be better
hands.
than it was.
But when he was mad, he may have been happy. Yes, he must have been happy in his obsession. Now he's coming back to the map. Pretty soon he'll start seeing the real world with its solid contours, roads, names, and configurations again.
That could be hard.
The real darkness may begin to flow through him. A river more vicious than madness.
When did it start, ma'am?
A few days before maneuvers, he began acting strangely. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, he started cursing his enemies. How Achilles' armors had been stolen from him, how they were all watching him, waiting for him to trip up and go to his doom. Then it would pass, and he would go out and play tennis, or play baseball with our son, or go down to his shop and work on that table he was making. And I would think it's all just strain. He gave so much, and we ask so much of these men, these warriors. But then I would hear him talking to himself, or to be more exact, being talked to.
Being talked to?
Yes, as if something was there goading him on. And suddenly I was cold and alone, like when I was a child, and my
My father and the leaders of my country were killed, and the trains were loaded with the dead, all because the Americans willed it.
Ma'am.
Then things seemed to pass once more, and he went off on his maneuvers. Then last night I called him on the phone, and I knew that he was going mad. So I got our son, I got into the car, and I drove as fast as I could to get to him.
Have you reached the animals yet?
Not yet. He was still in his headquarters preparing himself. He was in his battle dress, his sword and rifle next to him. And as I walked into the room, he looked up at me and said, "Woman, go bother someone else if you please." I had seen this part of him before. The naked male, vain and cold. Not often, but it was not entirely unknown to me. And I knew that I was no longer his wife, or his lover, or his friend, but just a woman whom he barely knew or did not care to know, and he was the warrior general. So I began to cry out, plead and shout, but he shouted louder. "Woman, silence. I don't want to hear you. I don't want to know you and your weakness and stupidity. Be still. Be obedient. Be a pretty dress hanging against the night sky so I can think, so I can go about the business that has been given me to attend to. Go and make me something to eat. I have thoughts stirring my flesh." So I went over to the little stove and pretended to cook, and I watched him as he began talking to this female phantom. I could almost see her. Then he began cursing wildly and ran out the door.
He was going after his enemies.
I watched him get into his car and drive off, so I got into mine and followed.
What about your son, ma'am?
Oh, he was in the back of the car sleeping. I took him along. He rode for miles through dark roads until finally he stopped in the middle of farm country. He got out of his car, climbed through a fence, entered a field. I followed. He came upon a couple of animals and shot them dead with his rifle. Then he walked and found the barn where the 2 white-faced rams were kept. And he did to them what I told you he did.
Goddamn bloody hell.
He was standing there staring at me, and I knew that it had left him. The raging sea had run dry. The sharks had died in the mud. And he said, "Tekmessa, what are you doing here?" And I said, "I am here to watch over my husband." And he said, "What has your husband been doing?" And I said, "He has run mad through fields and barns, and he has killed and butchered animals." And he said, "Poor Tekmessa, your heart must be broken." And I said, "Yes, it was. It was broken." Then he broke down, crying and moaning, lashing himself like a crazed child amidst the ruin of his world. And I took his face to me, this child general, and I held it to my heart so that he could hear it, so that it might soothe him amidst the blood and squalor of the slaughtered beasts, so that he could sleep. But he did not sleep, suspended as he was between sanity and insanity, inconsolable, wailing.
Men cry to you.
Now he sits there alone among the slaughtered beasts as if someone had slaughtered him, which is exactly the case.
There's no way out for us.
Can you do something for me, men?
Ma'am.
Speak to him before he does something horrible. He was bleeding to me. "Where are my friends?" he said. "Where are my men? I want them near
Yes,
me."
ma'am. Yes, we'll go to him.
You may be the only thing that can help him now.
My son. I want to see my son. Where is he? Where is the children?
I am nailed to a circus of blood.
You told us the truth. This is worse than any
I don't know
hell.
how it happened,
Worse
how it came about,
than the man
or who gave
dead
me the idea,
of the mountain.
or the hammer,
Oh, General,
or the nails.
he's gone.
Yes,
He's gone.
the nails.
General, sir, we're here to escort you back to camp.
Men, my troopers, my fighters.
Yes, sir.
You were the best we had, the first of the best, the edge of my sword. When your beast took form in the morning light, the enemy fled in terror. Only you can help me now.
And if you can,
escape this filthy circus, and quite frankly, it's driving me mad. It's the noise. Can you hear it? The flies buzzing inside that sheep's mouth. The blood dripping from that steer's throat. And the mice beginning to gnaw at that dog's leg. So do me the greatest favor.
Yes, sir.
Open fire. Open fire. Kill me now.
The evil cannot cure another evil.
Evil? Killing me? Of course it wouldn't be evil. It would be a laugh, a joke, something worth a chuckle on late night TV. Look, use your eyes. The great general, hero of the great war of the Americas, a cattle butcher, wet with the blood of dumb beasts. Use your eyes, goddammit!
I love God, please, no more.
Out of my sight, all of you. You make me sick. You and your Christian humanity. It's no good. It's rotten. It's inhumane. Where are the real troopers, the real killers when I need them? This is puke. This is women and children. I put the weapons in your hands. I taught you how to fight. I led you to victory after victory. If you ever loved me, then put me out of this world.
It's all broken.
It's pathetic.
Intricate mechanism.
You see, I had them, my enemies. I was just a step, just a breath away from their heartbeat. But something steered me aside and turned me on these fine and noble beasts.
It's all over now, sir. You can rest.
Where's Odysseus?
Take a drink
from my cunning animal. Oh, he'll get a laugh out of this, all right. If I could get near him, I'd nail him to a stone. I tried his blood into the heart of a stone. Kill him and a few others, then I could die.
Oh, what are you saying?
Because you're our general. You gave birth to us upon a field of fire and taught us the love of war, of valor, and of country. It is not easy to break our habit of following you.
Let's break it immediately. I order you.
Sir.
I'm not worthy to die with the likes of you men. I've been driven too far.
Darkness is my light. Death, my son. I am hunted by this irresistible woman. She won't rest until she has her revenge. There's no place for me to go or to hide. There'll be no mercy either from man or from God. Burn me now, death, with all your heat, until I'm a cinder, a speck of nothing. That's all I ask.
Who is this woman, sir? We'll find her and kill her.
No. Forget her, boys. You wouldn't stand a chance. But once I was more than a speck. I was the wild horse general. How they ran from my hooves. Now I hang like a drunk before them. Wet with disgrace, goes deep that blood and vomits right into the bone.
Sir, you mustn't speak this way. It does no good.
Right now, the good is in saying goodbye. That's what I want to do. Say goodbye to this country I once loved. The images still alive inside this Nagasaki ruin. Some purple waves in California. Some flowers once in the Midwest, cutting across a railroad track. I was 20 years old. In the mountains, yes, always the mountains, daredevils, madcaps in the sky. And a couple of rivers that I let wash over me, body and soul, once of a morning or two. One was the Mississippi, The other had no name. How long were we in the jungles, men? And those images were always with me, always sustaining me. My father was a great general, purest of heroes, and I wanted to be like him, to do as well. Yes, I tried, but fell to this, something scrawled on an alley wall, yes. Anyway. My father's father was a quiet man, a storekeeper, shy of shot and shell, a lover of the church and its music. But his grandfather was a Sioux chief, a warrior, and one spring day wiped out an arrogant West Point lieutenant and his entire troop outside Fort McKenzie. Birds screamed. Oh, how I dreamed that day, how it blazed me. For I knew that Sioux blood had returned and was flowing through me, full force. I would be the greatest of the war generals, the great American war chief, which I was. For a time. Yes, for a time. How can I ever sit with the old general again? It's injustice. If Achilles had lived, he would have chosen me to receive the armor. But he didn't live. And they took full advantage. Greasy crooks harassing my life, their pockets crammed with dirty tricks. And then that female plague bearer came, caressing my mind with her malaria hand, until I turned red with spasms of beast, a clown, a mockery. People deserve better of their generals, even if only on TV. Shall I give it to them? Attack one more time and die in one last action? No. That would be too kind to my enemies, grant them too much honor. There's no way that I can redeem myself before my father. And a long life is something only a coward is attached to. An endless late night movie when he should be asleep. But honor stolen in life may be regained by an honorable death. There's nothing else that I can ask for. The last bright thing.
Death is easy for you, sir. But there are other things to be considered, one of them being that I would be left quite alone here without you. I would be nothing here in America. My father was a great leader, loved by his people, but he offended American power and was eventually destroyed. My mother, sister, and I were lucky to escape with our lives and come here. And as a very young woman, I met a brave soldier who loved and protected me, even though I never gave up my father's ideas or fire. And I knew they laughed at you. The general and his Lenin-breasted wife, they'd say, don't they make a lovely couple? He kills them by day and sleeps with them at night. I know they never fully trusted you because of me, and that may have eventually led to your downfall. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, but don't leave me now. I have no other friend or protector here in this country besides you. Don't leave me or your son here unprotected.
I can't think about that now.
Well, think about your mother who prayed so hard.
Go back to South America, Techmaster. Some country will have you.
They will have me naked before them,
I'll
parading
kill
me
them.
from... You would be dead yourself. That would be a...
Then I'll come back from the dead and do
General, I'm afraid that's even beyond your military capabilities.
General, listen to us sometimes.
But I can't listen, man. Sir, because she's disobedient, she does not obey me. She comes to me in my time of need, of weakness, and she assaults me. She slaps me in the face. So you see, man, I can no longer hear her. I won't hear her.
I loved you, Ajax. I brought much happiness to you. Don't you remember that?
I am an animal. I have lost all my nobility and feeling as a husband. I am no longer human. Come on, men, get ready. We'll take action. We'll chop them to pieces and gather the rest of the troops and march into Washington.
But, sir, this is not...
What are you saying to me?
Sir, with all respect and sincerity, we do not feel it fitting or proper that American soldiers should set upon and kill other American soldiers, no matter how bad the situation.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
It is what we think. Then I must explain to you first. I no longer take orders from America. Is that getting through? Now I am my own general. I am Ajax's general. His fortunes and dreams are the only ones that I'm interested in. He is the only officer that I owe allegiance to. And since you are my men, your allegiance is welded to my will, and my will alone. Now let's get moving.
Sir, this is not a time
of course it is a time of war. Look what they have done to me. Look, look. I am the result of war, not missiles and bullets, but their words, their thoughts, their deeds. How can you turn away from me now when I need you?
Turn away from me now when I need you!
We're sorry.
We're sorry.
I'll go with you. I'll do whatever you ask. I'll crawl bleeding through the fields for you. I'll carry a grenade with my teeth. What do you want from me?
I want my son. I want to see him. You kept him from me, didn't you? You were afraid I might have killed him.
Yes, I was afraid.
But he is nearby, isn't he? And I want him.
The sight of this ruin.
No son of mine will flinch from blood.
All right. Asair! Is anybody with me? Come back!
No, you're not wrong. He's my son. Let him come. A sight like this will strengthen him. Don't laugh at me.
I want my son. I want my son.
Go to your father, son. He loves you. He won't hurt you. Son, Asair, Ace, my lucky Ace. Don't be afraid. You're not afraid of blood, are you? Of course not. We have to talk, son. See, time's flying. I have things to tell you. I want you to be like me, but I want you to be lucky. Yes, lucky and fortunate. I know you will be these things, son. I know you will. You're strong. You'll do well. I'd give anything to be in your place now. You're free, You live in your own magic world. And the world of the adults seems so very far away, doesn't it? So enjoy it, every bit of it. Because see, you'll soon grow up, and your enemies will find you out. They'll have no mercy, Ace. But let them know whose son you are. Let them know in no uncertain way. Never forget that, Ace. Whose son you are, all right? The school you'll be going to will be a hard one, believe me. I want you to live with my parents, to comfort them. But Uncle Tooser will be your guardian now, and he will raise you. He'll teach you to be smarter and tougher than the rest of them. You like your Uncle Tooser, don't you? I know you'll come out on top. I know you won't let me down. You'll be unbelievable, a Sarah, you'll tear up the turf. They'll know whose son you are. There'll be no way to forget.
Hey! My weapons, I want to be in my grave. Here, take the door away, close the door behind me. We want no crime now, no sad songs. The answer to my problems now lies in the night. That you are presumptuous, and it's a little foolish to think that at this point I could change my nature because of your fears. He should have died over there. It would have been better. The general and all his men. It would have been better. Listen to his mother. You can hear her cry. Pretty white hair, sharp blue eyes. Listen to her cry, cry, cry. Listen, oh, to his father, the old general, straight and sharp as a bayonet. Listen to him cry, cry, cry. His mind is alone, far from the human city. His mind is on fire, far from the human stand. This is how we will all be repaid by the masters we serve. Man knows it, man knows it. The next day they're going for your throat. He should have died in his madness. He should have mistaken his heart for an animal. Oh, he should have died in his madness, falling happy upon his still beating heart. Ripped it all apart, it would have been better. It would have been better.
How things constantly change. Time, that great source of energy, is constantly illuminating our reality. I'll never get used to it. Everything moves. Atoms, planets, spiders, and men's minds. Forever is hidden. You have no idea that it exists. Then suddenly, it's right there in front of you, light shining all over it, the truth. You can take it in your arms, hug it, kiss it. But why all of a sudden? Why the dramatic change? On the other hand, you may know something for 1,000 years, the backbone of your life, the force behind your breath. Then suddenly, it's gone, lost forever, like it never existed. Try as you might, you can't bring it back. It's confusing, our lives. The book lies open before us, but we can't understand the words. A moment ago, I was an open razor, about to sear the flesh, but now my edges softened, perhaps by a woman's touch. Why should I leave a widow and a fatherless child alone among my enemies? It makes no sense. I've learned my lesson. To fight the system is to slowly strangle oneself. So why continue with this disrespect and hatred towards the sons of Atreus? They're in power, lawful above us. So be it. The greatest forces know when to let go. Wild winter fondly lies down before the sweetness of spring. Blackest sleep eventually lets us up in time for breakfast. Not to mention the gargantuan sea that on the next day plays gently with a little boy and his raft. And finally, the red light to the green light. So why not wild Ajax, bending to the will of his superiors? Flexibility is the key. Tomorrow, your enemy may be your friend, and your best friend pointing a weapon at your heart. There's no telling, no predicting. And now I want to get clean, walk through the meadows and down to the sea, wash this filth from me. And maybe then that phantom will decide to stop pursuing me. And I will take this sword and bury it deep out of sight forever. It was given to me by Hector, my deadliest enemy, and it has caused me nothing but grief. And Tecmessa, friends, if you could do me a favor and say a prayer for me, asking God to give me all that I need right now, I deeply appreciate it. And when my brother Tusa comes, ask him please to look after things, to put them in order as I would like. And tell him not to worry. All this horror, this terrible night of suffering has ended. I must be on my way now.
We'll take care of things, sir.
I'll say the prayer.
It looks like he's gonna make it.
Boom, boom. Boom, boom.
It looks like he's gonna get through.
Boom, boom, boom.
The moon is bright. He can see. Remember, we were in the hills, looking down on the valley. Remember, night, and we could not see our enemy. Night, and they were moving towards us. Night, and we could not see our enemy. Night, and they were moving towards us. A whole city. What? But then the moon came out full into view. A whole city above us. A whole city in full view. A magic city flooding the trees and our enemies with light. And now we see them and drive them off like Ajax. A magic city comes to him and floods him with light. He sees his enemies and drives them off. He sees his enemies and drives them off. He's blessed our General, bless. He's blessed our General, bless.
Bless the planets on his side.
Listen to me, friends. Listen. Major Tusa has come back from the hills, and Odysseus' men are in a fury. They are convinced that Ajax has gone mad. But where's the general now?
He went off somewhere. He had to set things right. He needs some time for himself.
That's bad. That's very bad. You see, I've been sent here to keep him here, not to let him move. He's doomed if he gets away. If he breaks free, he'll never see another dawn. Major Tusa! What is the world, I ask you, Major? What is the world? The world is three. The world is three. The world is three, Major. 3 bones upon a blazing stone. The spirit of God, the spirit of man, and the spirit of evil. Now, look closely at that blazing stone, Major, and what do you see? You see your brother Ajax standing there, barren as a beast, his eyes bruised with darkness, sick with the wine of futility. 3 bones upon a blazing stone, and your brother Major chose the wrong one. He chose to serve the spirit of man, Major, and the spirit of man is a lie, a deceit. It says, I flow upwards to the sky, but if the truth be known, Major, it is easily detoured. Every rock, every very stone causes it to flow down. Like water, it roars, spills, rushes, and gurgles down the sluice, through the fierce nether regions, until finally it enters the bottom, basin, pit, swamp of the world, and there begins to mingle with the foul fluids of evil, glistening on the back and the buttocks, and the genital appointments of the denizens rejoicing there, hard with God hatred, alive with contempt and animal pride, dancing to the devil's own jive, soldiers in the army of Ajax. But God is infinite, and manifest drops of mercy flow with his morning light, and in his love he sends to Ajax a spirit beloved of him and delightful to his heart, a spirit to befriend and counsel Ajax, and to attend and administer to his soul, so he should not die. An angel spirit in the body of a woman, Athena.
Athena, Athena, Athena.
But she will not accept or understand him, nor let him befriend her heart. And he jeers at her sacred words, and then one day decides to use her as a woman, as a wanton, as a soldier would his slut, caressing her breasts and her thighs. Oh, Ajax, Athena cries. Oh, dear Ajax, treat me like the sister of your soul, and not like a soldier's whore, twisted in foul sheets. Then go off and consort with General Odysseus. He says, I'll have none of you. But still she loves him and comes to bargain with him. Oh, listen to me, Ajax, and I will teach you the secrets of war and victory. And he tells her, the secrets of war are mine, and mine alone to find, and victory mine alone to give to my men and my country. Go to General Odysseus. He needs all the help he can get, but still she loves him, still, and comes to him in a field, and evil explodes within him, and throwing her down upon the ground, he rips open her clothes with his dark heart, and then he rapes her. He rapes her, Major, rejoicing in the attack, bringing forth her divine blood, burning the grass and the flowers around her. Well, then she curses him and mires his mind in darkness, sending him forward a slobbering killer, slaughterer of the earth's dumb creatures. But God is infinite this evening, Major, and manifest drops of mercy flow with his morning light. And even as Ajax is entrusted in blood, entombed within the violence, she comes to him and offers him a way out. Stay, Ajax, stay. Just one day, that's all. So you can truly know what you have done, and the world can witness you. Stay! And then I will free you from your depravity, and you can go forth once more. But in his heart, Major, Ajax fears that he will lose Ajax, and in his heart he chooses hell. Now, you must get him back. Use force if necessary, otherwise he will die. I'm going to lay down my burden.
Let's find it.
Down by the riverside. Down by the riverside.
Start searching the beaches. I think he deceived us.
Down by the riverside.
What man?
Going to lay down.
He had no other plan after all.
My burden.
He loves something more than the child in me.
Down by the riverside and
What's that, man?
study war no more.
Death. His death. Let's go.
I'm going to lay down my sword and shield down by the riverside.
down by the riverside, down by God's riverside, going to lay down my sword, my shield.
There, now he's ready. The executioner, the gas chamber, the noose, the firing squad. He'll do his job well. And why shouldn't he? It's Hector's sword. It's been seeking my heart a long time. Look at it, so alert and deadly. I've burnt away the iron with a piece of stone. It's all pure edge now. Pure, heartless edge. Now to my prayers. Father, I ask you, I pray you grant me that Tusa get to me first, lift me in his arms, and take me from this final sword, before my enemies can get to me and do with me as they will. And also that my death be quick, swift, just one skip of the stone, and then see.
Sir, I don't know how close we could ever be, but I'd like to be your friend. I really would. And help you bury your brother.
Thank you, Odysseus. You were my brother's worst enemy. But now you stood in his defense. I respect and admire what you did. You refused to take part in this, and I thank you again as much as I can. You know, I still can't believe he's gone and all this has happened. My mind is a jumble and I may not be thinking clearly, but I think I will have to refuse your offer because, quite frankly, your presence might offend the dead.
You might be right, knowing Ajax.
But come back when we perform the rites. And bring some of your soldiers with you. You'll never forget what you've done for us.
I'll do as you wish.
It's not easy to live on this earth with its warrior stars and furious men. It's hard to pierce the night and difficult to see the day. But if we aren't careful with every moment, every sight, the dark will come in with the tide, and the future wipe us out.